sunshine comes from the east, till the light of the dark is coming. We are all up in our eyes, we are all up in our heart, we are all up in our mind, under the same sky. Not only one in blood and land, not only one on skin's color and language. We have one spirit, we're one in struggle. Let's raise our dream together. We can, we are young together. Hey, hey, ah, ah, ah. Hey, ah, ah. It's time to get up. Hold it and build somebody. Let's go, we step together. One spirit to go. Great. Hey, ah, ah, ah. Hey, ah, ah, ah. Hey, ah, ah, ah. Not only one in blood and land, not only one on skin's color and language. We have one spirit, we're one in struggle. Let's reach our dream together. We can, we are young together. Hey, hey, ah, ah, ah. Hey, ah, ah. It's time to get up. Hold it and build somebody. Let's go, we step together. One spirit to go. Great. Hey, ah, ah, ah. 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 We are winner generation. Reach as high as you can. Hold as much as you can. Finish beautiful as you can. Breathe the best into the
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ruth Perello, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Before we begin, if you have any questions regarding the discussion, don't hesitate to send them to us by entering it in the comment section or of whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and I'll be here to relay them to our guest speaker. So, welcome to the live webinar series of ESME.ph, an e-learning marketplace for Filipino professionals where one can develop relevant and in-demand skills through masterclasses in different fields of learning. If you want to learn more about us, feel free to visit our page at www.sme.ph. For those who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, feel free to share the link to this stream up to people who you think will be interested in today's topic. So now, this webinar is in partnership with the Rotary Club of Alabang Madrigal Business Park, District 3830, Zone 10A, a five-star Rotary Club of dynamic and fun-loving visionary leaders of the community who are wholeheartedly giving back to the society through service and advocacy. They are looking to add to their membership so that they can do even more, not only to their community and throughout the world. If looking to make a contribution to the welfare of others and see yourself as a person who can live up to their motto of service above self, all while having fun and enjoying the fellowship of club members, then you should join the Rotary. This is also in partnership with Rotaract Club of Alabang, Madrigal Business Park, ASEAN Youth Organization, GCI Alabang, Rotaract One ASEAN, United Nations Youth Associations of the Philippines, Montessori de Oro, and Youth Development Affairs Office. Now, our topic for today is all about the post pandemic major shifts in the world economy. Our esteemed guest speaker will talk about the major developments and shifts in the post pandemic world economy. He will be discussing how the global economy was heavily impacted by the pandemic and share his insights on the major changes in the world economy. Given that there is still uncertainty on the developments and shifts that happened due to the pandemic, what can we do to survive? He was born in Tirana, Albania on September 29, 1965. He completed his bachelor's degree in agronomy in 1989 and a master's degree in economy in 1996 at the Agriculture University of Tirana. He has also completed his MBA at Lincoln University and FEUT in 2000. He became a law faculty of Tirana University in 2002. In 2005, he accomplished his Doctor of Sciences in Management at FEUT. He has also trained in Albania, the USA, UK, Germany, Israel, and Austria, among others, for economic, law, environmental subjects. He is now a lecturer at CIT CARD Department, a World Business Angels Investment Forum Senator, an ambassador of the International Peace Association, and a lead auditor for ISO standards. Besides lecturing, his previous experience is related to the Ministry of Agriculture, British Embassy Tirana, World Bank, NATO, USA Army, and local newspapers. He has participated in more than 70 international scientific conferences, has published around 50 articles in international scientific journals and academic books on quality management tools, hotel and hospitality management, academic writing, business communication, and agribusiness management. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our speaker, Dr. Enrico Ceko. Good afternoon, sir.
Uh, Thank you for such a nice presentation. First of all, I would like to say that it is my great pleasure to be with you today to share some important and interesting points regarding to the where we have been, where we are, and where are we going. Regarding to the situation of, especially the situation of the last 2 years with the pandemic of COVID-19, which have been not only a period of difficulties and problems for all of us, but it has been a tough period to think hard, to try hard, to learn more, and to look forward to improve our life. Because at the end of the day, besides the fact that what is happening all around us, the most important for us is our life. The most important for us is life of our families. The most important for us is the life of the whole society in our countries, and as well the life of all people all around the world. So saying that the world is going to be smaller and smaller. We cannot think or we cannot act today individually as humans or as a family or as a business or even as a country, as a government. We have to communicate to each other. We have to share with all of us problems that we have, problems we face, and the most important thing is to share solutions, because that's the only one way to look forward, to improve the quality of our lives. So today I'm going to speak for these aspects, problems that brought COVID, which is unemployment, recession, vaccination, commercial flights, tourism sectors, this stuff. I would like to combine what I will present to you with what Malthus says around 200 years ago. But what Malthus says 200 years ago now have a solution. And we shall see later mega trends for the next 10 years, which are, the major shifts generally in the world economy, politics, demography, this stuff, and which are major shifts on human resources and which are major shifts on education, because these two major shifts on human resources and education are totally related with us as individuals. So we have to, we have to adjust ourselves in the labor market. We have to adjust ourselves in terms of education and knowledge, because for every person to succeed, there are only three things which are important, which is skills, knowledge, and competences. No one can give you these three things. You can go in the school for years, even for tens of years, and professors might try to teach you. They tell you which are skills, knowledges, and competencies you need to perform a job. But if you don't want to gain skills, if you don't want to build competencies, and if you don't want to create knowledge, then even the best professors in the world cannot do anything. It's you. You have to gain skills, you have to build competence, you have to create knowledge. From the previous experience, from the books that you read, from all information that you get, from professors, from the school, even from individual education or training courses that you might want to follow. The most important thing is to fix what you want to do with your life. Look at this. World economy struggling with rising unemployment all around the world. Even before the pandemic, the unemployment was higher. But you see, compare 2019 with 2020. Red dots with blue dots. It's increasing. I got an example of these countries from International Monetary Fund, a report of some months ago. But it's everywhere the same. Of course, unemployment is related with other things. It's related with health. It's related with education. It's related with housing. It's related with holidays. It's related with the supply of food, water, electricity. And this is related at the end of the day with products and services that companies deliver into the market. You see what happened last 2 weeks in all around the world. Price of wheat and price of hydrocarbons, oil. They rise up. And it will be a compound pricing increase, because these two main commodities are important for our life, and the increase of prices on these two commodities will be transferred to the increase of prices in all products and services, which is related to food and in agribusiness sector. And hydrocarbons is related specifically with transport. Transport is blood for the economy. Roads are blood for the economy. So no transport, no economy, no life. Majority of countries in recession. If you see carefully, countries all around the world are suffering from recession. What is recession? A long period without economic growth. And this came firstly from unemployment. Because if people don't work, they cannot produce. They are not efficient, they are not sufficient to produce products and services. And if this happens for a long period, then the whole economy of a country will suffer, will be in difficulties. But when this happens in a group of countries, or in the case of COVID-19, when this happened in all the world, all around the world, so all the countries suffer from recession. High unemployment, low level of production, no sales for specific sectors. Some sectors almost collapsed. In January this year, daily percentage change in the number of jobs posting 2020-2019 compare because of vaccines. It was in that time it was a very low usage of vaccines in many countries, and we see now the result. After, let's say, after creating opportunities for all countries to get the vaccine, and most people accepted it, you see the situation during the summer of this year, it was improved a bit. And if you see situation now, besides the fact that COVID exists, some countries are opening their borders. Just yesterday, in France, it was allowed to fill bars, pubs, and these night bars with music until to 15%. In Europe, stadiums for soccer, they now permit people to enter. In Balkans, where my country is, in Albania, universities, schools are open. We accept students that have a vaccine or they have a certificate of a test. But it's open. In a period of 2 years, everything was online in schools. And we know that. Well, not everything can be learned online. There are some specific issues, some specific disciplines you cannot get online. And as well, the most important thing, you have to be accompanied by people. We are humans. There are some other species in the world which during all their life remain individually without being accompanied by the others. But we are humans. And this 2 years period of staying home or being in distance with the others affected our life, individual psychology, and whole society. You see, commercial flights still remain below normal levels. Besides the fact that in some countries, air flights, commercial flights are open, but the number of flights per day has been reduced, as well as the number of people which use flight transport is reduced. Some companies don't permit to fill the full aircraft because of the distance. In some countries, yes, they accept, but you have to have a test or you have to be vaccinated. But anyway, the problem is not only with flights or with commercial flights or with flight agencies, flight companies. The problem is that reducing commercial flights affects several sectors. And one of them is tourism. But not only tourism. People have to communicate. Not everything can go online. Not everything can be discussed in Zoom. Not everything can be discussed in classrooms, in Google Classrooms, or in Facebook or Instagram. Business usually have a lot of things that cannot be discussed online. Look
Sir,
what happened.
excuse me.
Annual percentage change of football.
Sir,
You know?
excuse me, sir, Dr. Ceko.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we would like to ask if are you sharing your screen right now? Because we don't see it on our end.
Okay.
Kindly share your screen so that everyone can see. Thank you very much.
Can you see it?
Yes, sir, we can see it now.
Okay. So, this is the rise of pharmaceutical companies during this period. Of course, it's normal. If people suffer, they have to find solution. And several companies offer their solutions. We don't know yet which is the best, but this is how it works. The impact of coronavirus on stock market since the start of outbreak. Some stock market went down, some stock market went up. You see, from the start of pandemic to the first vaccine announced. After the first vaccine was announced, you see the shift of stock market. I would like to stay a bit to factors of production. Factors of production, as we know today, are labor, land, capital, innovation, and entrepreneurship. It was Malthus that says that 200 years ago. He predicted that humanity, if left unchecked, would breed itself into poverty, due to its inability to produce food proportional to a growing population in the face of a fixed amount of arable land. So he thought that the role of fixed factors is important. But what happened today? Currently, in the globe, there is a land that is not used. There is labor, but the unemployment rate is high. There is money in the banks in form of savings, which are not used for investments. So labor, land, capital, we don't use them anymore. So if we use labor, land, capital, we understand that there is a room to increase production. There is a room to increase employment. There is a room to increase economic growth. But as you see, nowadays, the role is shifted towards innovation, creativity, and quality management. I will show you later a graph about that. Creativity. Over the years of quality management experience, seems we have achieved in a common idea that innovation, products, services, processes, procedures, etc., like this are part of creativity or involved. Knowledge creation and creativity are very important to successful organizations and their results. Emphasize knowledge and creativity. Innovation is the practical implementation of ideas, of creativity, that results in the introduction of new goods or services or improved ones in offering goods or services in the market. And some standards help on that. entering as a new or change entity, creating or redistributing value. When we talk about quality management, we talk about continuous improvement. We talk about ISO standards, and especially the most required standard in the world is ISO 9001. So let's see relation between innovation and creativity. You see in one side of the screen, it's verified statistically that there is a great connection between innovation and creativity. Until now, it was just a theory that innovation and creativity got related to each other. But only 2 days ago, it was presented in the scientific society, these regressions. Yesterday, 2 days ago, it was the 9th Mediterranean Conference held by Almeria University in Spain, where I presented my study on relations between innovation, creativity, and quality management, ISO standards, where for the first time I was able to handle regressive analysis to show the great connection which exists between innovation and creativity, between innovation and quality management systems, innovation and ISO standard 9001, and creativity and quality management system, creativity and ISO standard 9001. Why this? Since we don't use labor, land, capital, we have to use innovation and entrepreneurship. But innovation and entrepreneurship are not physical. We cannot see them. Innovation and creativity are in our mind. They are born with us. Each of us is unique. And each of us have innovation and entrepreneurship skills. But we have to explore them. We have to show that we have innovation and entrepreneurship skills. If we show them, then we will succeed. We can open a business, we can find a good job, we can look forward to our life, not only as individuals, but as a whole society. Let's see megatrends for the next 10 years. Population growth. We are going 9 billion after 20 years. Global warming, environment problems, waste management, recycling, plastics, this stuff. We are entering in the next stage of the fourth industrial revolution because we are in the middle of that. We know that as a digital revolution. There is a rapid advancement in technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning. It's totally related to innovation. It's totally related to creativity. It's totally related to respect of standards. If we don't respect standards, then there is no competition. But the base of our world, the base of our existence is competition. It is calculated that there are already over 65 old people in Asia than there are people in US. There will be over 65s in Asia than the population of the Eurozone and North America combined after 20 years. But this affects technologies, this affects health, this affects social change. More than half of the world's population now lives in towns and cities. And by next 10 years, this number will go to 5 billion. More than half. Let's suppose that we think that in 2030, the world population, it will be around less than 8 billion. 5 in towns, 3 in rural areas. And much of this urbanization belongs to Africa and Asia, bringing a huge social, economic, and environmental transformation. Main responses to crisis and post-crisis period. Well, as I told, information revolution, flexible and learning organizations, and innovation systems. an explosion of knowledge, skills, and learning, and competing with them. Growing innovation and knowledge networks. Increase of global competition and production, level of production. Employment from business entities of several strategies and locations, because the technology gives that chance. Clustering in the knowledge economy. Of course, knowledge is a very specific subject. Not all knowledge can drop in a file. Not all knowledge can drop in a roof. Improving system of creation, production, and distribution. Yeah, logistics now is exploding. Logistics is improved, is modernized. We see during all of 2 years of a pandemic, most of us had a chance to order online. And in a couple of days or in a week, what you ordered came at home, in your door. Increasing needs for policy integration. Yeah, I told you before. We need to cooperate. We need to work together. By my opinion, borders are just some physical notions. Borders, in fact, doesn't exist. And we have to work hard even to break all borders that still might exist all around the world. For all of us is important. Shifting the composition of the economy. Yeah, if you don't use labor, land, capital, then there is a shift from rural economies to industrial or to technological economies. Improving knowledge, education, and skills. Yeah, it's because of competition. If you want to find a job, you need skills, knowledge, and competencies. But you cannot gain them without improving the education system, because it's a competition between countries. Which country has the best education system, the best health system, and the infrastructure, is in a better position in terms of economy with the other countries. Usage and expand of innovation systems, creativity, and quality management culture. Yes, of course. People want to have more innovation systems. They want to be more creative. And most of companies that even before didn't have standards, now they are applying to get the minimum ISO 9001. They want to have a quality management system to perform well in the open market. 9 human resources strengths. Now, what I talked until now is generally, is for society, is for the whole economy of a country, or for all of us. But now we go to some specific things which belongs to us as individuals. We have to understand that there are 9 human resources trends emerging, which result of workforce and workplace changes. Increase in remote working. Even now that it is allowed to go in the office, 30% of people, they say it's good for them to work at home, from home. Expanded data collection. Yeah, there is a lot of information around. The most important thing with that is to classify it. Contingent worker expansion. Yeah. Since we don't work in agriculture, that there is a room to work somewhere else. It's contingent worker expansion. Expanded employer role as a social safety net. Yeah, it's normal. This was going to happen even before the pandemic. Separation of critical skills and roles. Yeah, in every business, in every office of public administration, every position, every job, let's say in simple words, every job must have duties and responsibilities in written form. If you don't have them, that you cannot perform your job. You cannot report, and no one asks you, what are you doing? But without that, without duties and responsibilities written for every position in a company or in public administration, nothing can happen. We cannot look for work. We cannot develop ourselves. And there is a situation of dehumanization of people that hire us. Well, it's true. Something is happening in large corporations. Something is happening in public sector. There is a part of our society that think that they live in the moon. They know nothing what is happening in the earth. So we have to cut this. They cannot guide. They cannot be leaders. Looking at the earth from above, from the moon. They have to be between us. They have to understand what people need. They have to understand which are the right ways to look forward and to improve our life. Emergency of new top-tier employers. Yeah. There is an emergency to connect people in the organization. Traditionally, the connection or the communication in a company or in a public administration offices, it was vertical or horizontal. But now we see that increasing the need for diagonal communication. Some people that before didn't have the communication between sectors, now they communicate often. Because there is no time to wait to send the message to one person, to another person, to another person, that at the end of the day, the message to go to the person you wanted the message to go. So you can go directly to this person in the company or to this sector. And this is diagonal communication, which is important for today's developments. Transition from designing for efficiency to designing for resilience. It's important to understand that everyone that is looking for a job or everyone that is in a job, you have to understand we need resilience. Increase in organization complexity. Yeah. With such kind of developments, we need to have several new positions in the organization. For example, most of organizations don't have a quality manager, but now is needed. In most of organizations, before it was not the position of health and safety officer or person in charge for health and safety. Now it is a requirement, not even by the labor law, but it's a requirement by the companies, by businesses. There are several positions which didn't exist before, like people that check the energy consumption in a business. We see what happened with the energy, with price of energy all around the world. So we need to have some people in the company which check consumption of energy. 5 major shifts needed to transform education. Restructuring time. We need to shift from a system where time is the constant and learning is the variable to one where learning is constant and time is variable. Long life learning. There is no way. Now, in nowadays, the knowledge of society are doubled every 5 years. Let's consider I start a bachelor now, 3 years bachelor. After that, I will get to 2 years master. At the end of the 5-year studies, what professors wanted to teach to me is only 5% of what exists, of what is around the world in the time after 5 years. It's doubled everything. Information is doubled. With all of that information, we have to be careful to classify it and to use it when it's needed. Student-centered models. Thinking about how different each student is will help teachers reject the idea of one-size-fits-all education and focus on educating each student step by step from where they are. Yes, I love it. This is one of the most important shifts that I really love it. I teach by myself in university, and I see that there is a huge difference between every student. But we have to work with them individually to make them able to enter into the labor market with their skills, knowledges, and competencies. And of course, we have an important role. The teacher stands in front of the class and delivers information to students. It's old style. It's over. We cannot stand in front of the class delivering information anymore. We have to provide resources necessary for individual students and for the group of them. They have to work by themselves to gain skills, to create knowledge, and competencies, to build competencies. Of course, in every university, or not in university, but even in middle schools and even in the low level of education, we need to analyze programs of the school and to develop them. What facts or processes we want kids to really remember years down the road? Are we offering for them knowledge which is available for them after they will finish the school? Are we really delivering to them information that really they need? So this is a big question. And we have to build all of that in regarding to school culture. We are unique. Every person in our world, every human is unique. So that's why in the school, but not only in the school, but even in working place, we have to respect diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI, it's important. No diversity, no equity, no inclusion, then no competitive advantage, no economic growth, no good life of society, no good personal life. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, especially the last things, 9 human resources strengths and these major shifts in transforming education, which every one of us should take care of. I would like to thank you for the attention following my presentation. So I'm open for questions, debates, discussions.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Now, let us proceed with the question and answer portion. I would be telling you the first question. Um, Here it goes. Aside from the pandemic, what major setbacks have impacted the world economy the most in the past year?
Well, this is a very interesting question. We are in the period of globalization. In this kind of the economy, when all economies or all leaders says we have to open gates, we have to open borders, we have to communicate, we have to exchange goods and services, behind that is a commercial war. And this commercial war, it's totally related to quality of products and services, as well as with the costs of production. Saying that, who control resources can gain competitive advantage. Who control labor market can gain a competitive advantage. Who control finances can get a competitive advantage. On the other side, we have big corporations which want us to work 8 hours a day, and even after that to think only for the corporation. And on the other side, we have our life. So look at these three main conflicts: globalization and individuality of countries, controlling or not controlling labor, land, capital, and the conflict between working hours and the rest of life. These are three main conflicts which affected already the world economy without considering pandemics. Now that we have pandemics, then these three main conflicts, let's say, have been more and more important to study, to check them, and to see what to do with these conflicts, how to solve problems. And I think the world is entering in a new period, in a new era, where international organizations are in the way of change. What I mean with that? It looks that the United Nations role in the world is increasing. While individual connection of countries with World Bank and in the International Monetary Fund are increasing individually, not as a region, not as a world economy. Because individual countries, especially undeveloped or developing countries, need support, need experience from these two main international financial organizations. What's next? Even developed countries now suffer from financials. So, International Monetary Fund and World Bank must be reorganized to cover all financial problems, not only for developed or only for developing or only for undeveloped countries. We need to have a strategy for these two big organizations to work with all countries to solve, to try to help on solving financial problems of the whole world economy. If you see sustainable development goals, we said we will cover them in next 10 years. What happened? Let's consider sustainable development goals related to environment. No, we have problems. Plastics everywhere. Recycling industry is not developed. Instead that we have a lot of waste around, we just push trash in landfills. In most of landfills are illegal. Instead that we have to develop recycling industry, offering for them opportunities, a low tax system for recycling industries to make them use. There is no reason to go in a roof in a mine to extract minerals while we have waste in landfills, which can be used with a very cheap, with a low cost. So why we destroy environment going in and extracting minerals from the earth, while already we have a lot of materials in the landfills? So I am saying that these people that are looking the earth from the moon must drop in the soil. They have to live with us. We have to see each other, to say hello to each other, and to solve our problems that we have.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for answering the first question. I would like to agree with what you've said that, especially with the major setbacks you mentioned, we really need to develop a sustainable environment for the future generation. And with that, sir,
Yes.
with regard to your answer a while ago as well, with with the developed countries experiencing financial crisis as well, here is our second question. So, with that, what are your thoughts on the uneven growth in the global economy as COVID-19 still weighs?
Yes. I told at the beginning, we now are not using labor land capital in a level that we used to do it before. What does this mean? This means that we have a chance to ameliorate situation with the environment. Look what happened during the 2 years of pandemics. People stayed at home, all animals came in town. We have seen in Australia animals in the roads. We have seen in Asia, in my country. We stayed at home, wolves and bears came in town. So we have to be careful with that. In terms of using the earth in a proper way. We have a lot of space. There is a space for all of humans, even to be 20 billion humans in the world. But we have to leave the space for the rest of species in the world, for flora and fauna of the world, to be developed and to be sustained. We have to give a chance to trees to recover themselves and to be replaced naturally, not forcibly. If we cut a tree today, we need 20 years to have it back, with planting today 3 or 4 other trees. So if we cut a tree today, we have to plant today 3 trees to get 1 after 20 years. Who is doing that? So if we cut a tree today, we have had to plant it 3 trees 20 years ago to replace them. So I brought you just a simple example how the forest situation is going. In my country, before the Second War, 60% of territory was with forest. Now only 10% of territory is with forest. And you know, this brings problems with the soil, this brings problems with the rains. So ecological things, environment things, only because of cutting trees without criteria. So we have to be sustained. If you cut a tree, you have to have had planted 20 years ago 3 trees. To have 1 of them today, because not all of them will survive. You have to plant 3 trees 20 years ago, and 1 of them will survive to replace the trees that you want to cut today. So I think with that example, I covered the situation of environment. But generally, in the question, I love the question very much. Really, we have to keep all parameters of the economy in our hands. We should not leave anything outside of control. When I say control, in a good way, control, not control to fight, but control to improve. It is important to understand in everything that we have in our life. Well, 4 main managerial functions are planning, organizing, leading, and control. Without plan, an idiot can beat an intelligent man that doesn't have a plan. If an idiot has a plan, can beat any day a very intelligent man which doesn't have a plan. We need to organize things, resources, financial resources, human resources, raw materials. And after that, we have to lead people to get success, to succeed. But all of this, planning, organization, and leading, should be controlled. No control, no result. No control, you lose resources. This is what have happened until now. COVID told to us, you have to plan, organize, lead, and control. This is the best lesson that COVID gave to us. No plan, no organizing people, no leading, no control, then it's not good for any one of us individually as a society. Who told planning, organizing, leading, and control? It was a French entrepreneur 130 years ago, Henri Fayol. He told to us 130 years ago We have to plan, we have to organize, we have to lead, we have to control. And after 130 years, it was COVID that remind us what Henry Fayol told to us 130 years ago. Henry Ford, 110 years ago, he put the control man in his factories. One person to control 10 people for the quality of products and services. He did it 110 years ago. Why we don't do it today? So that's the importance of managerial functions. Planning, organizing, leading, and control, no way to succeed. Edward Deming, one of the most important men of quality management, he says, plan, do, check, act. The famous Deming cycle. We have to plan things, but we have to do that. We have to follow the plan. If we follow the plan and we involve the plan, then we have to check. If we check and everything is okay, we can go again. But if we check and something is wrong, then we have to act to make corrections. That's why people that succeed have a correction plan or a preventive plan. To prevent mistakes, or when they happen, we have to correct. Plan, do, check, act. They goes together. Henry Ford, Henry Fayol, and Edward Deming told to us years ago. And COVID just remembered us what they told.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your inputs regarding that question. Truly, that with the four management functions you mentioned, it is essential, especially with regard to the COVID-19 recovery. But um, for the next question, it could be something a little conflicting, especially with how about those in low income economies where vaccination is not as readily available. So, what would help in bouncing back from the economic recession that we were talking about?
Yes, true. This is a very good question. Most of low-income countries are suffering from the lack of vaccine, and I do strongly believe there is a way to do it. There are a lot of vaccines around. There are Western vaccines, Russian vaccines, and Chinese vaccines. I strongly recommend authorities which are in charge to inspect vaccines, to issue certificates for these vaccines, if they are good or not. They have to think for the whole population of the world, not only for the population of developed countries. Certifying reliable vaccines give a chance to low-income countries to solve the problem and to control the situation. Besides the vaccines, there are some other medicaments which help. Some countries have developed some pills which helps on reducing the suffering from COVID. I understand that there is a cost to develop new medicaments for pharmaceutical companies. And we have to make sure, for the moment, there is no need for patents. Why they need patents for vaccines when all the world is suffering? Patent is to protect your product from competitors. Should we think about competition in such a situation when people die? So there is no need for patents on pharmaceuticals which fight COVID. Well, you might ask, from where they will get money back? Because they have spent a lot of money for experiments. So that's the role of World Bank. That's what I said before, that World Bank must change the role. Not to look only for incomes or for economic growth, but they have to look for the health of people. No health, no economic growth. And eliminating patents for pharmaceutical companies which produce vaccines and other medicaments for COVID is the immediate action that should be taken. No patents, all people will get vaccines and medicaments.
Oh, would that be all, sir, for that question? Okay. Since you've mentioned that even in low-income economies or countries, there should still be the need for vaccine. Therefore, I would like to ask another question regarding that. How do you think the COVID-19 economic recovery will play out in that situation?
Uh, we are in a situation that around 50-60% of the world population has got what we call natural immunity. And with this natural immunization, now when most of developed countries have vaccinated 70-80% of their working population, not all population, but people that work, uh, I think that we have done a big mistake. The Chinese move, it was very smart. They vaccinated at the beginning retired people and working people as well. So why we did the different? We started to vaccinate only retired people and not people that are in working age. But in fact, who go outside the house? Retired people don't go outside the house. If you say to them, stay at home because there is a disease outside, they stay at home. We didn't vaccinated working part of the population from 20 years old to 65. This was a big mistake. If we have done it, the situation will have been in another direction. But this is a very good lesson. Even for let's suppose that we will have a fourth wave of pandemics this winter. Let's suppose. Now we know a lot of things. So first of all, we have to vaccinate working class, people from 20 to 65. The young generation have a natural immunity strong, a higher immunity, and for people that stay at home, so there is no need for a vaccine immediately. They can get it slowly. Saying that, because we did this mistaken, then we had a lot of economic problems later. Because companies closed doors, they reduced salaries. The most important thing now is to have a financial support from governments to families and to businesses. If we want to recover quickly, most of low-income countries' governments should prepare packages for businesses to support them to restart, to recover. In parallel with that, a package to support families. We cannot say that I will give you money and don't go to work, stay home. As well as we cannot say, please shut up because I am giving money to business and they will give money to you. No, it will be in both sides. Money for business, money for families. According to the incomes of this to people and to business. This the main way how to get over the situation. Yeah. In some countries that did that, for example, in some East European countries, they had the package for business and they had the package for families. Situation in that countries, economic situation in that countries went better compared with the others. But what happened after the first strong wave of pandemic is that in such countries, the economy was recovered more quickly than the rest of the world. Because they used two ways of package for business, package for families. In countries that used package for families, things went bad. Even in countries that use only package for business, things didn't went well. So we need to support both economic agents, families and businesses. How much? This is a big question. I cannot say how much we need to support business and families in South Africa or in Nigeria or in your country or in my country. But we have to. I told you, we have to look to each other and to say to each other hello. We have to stay in table to discuss things. Not some people stay in the moon and some people in the earth.
Thank you very much for that powerful insight, Dr. Ceko. Now, let's move on with the last question since I think you've covered a lot of um, insights with regard to the last question. So, to end this question and answer portion, I would like to ask this one. Aside from the help from the government, like the distribution of money to families and businesses, what tips can you give us to help in our own little ways towards the growth of the economy?
Fiscal system must be adequate. You have to support sectors which suffer the most from COVID with reducing level of taxes. It's very important to understand there is no way to develop, let's say, tourism with 20% VAT tax. There is no way to develop agriculture sector leaving farmers without a subsidy. They need money now to buy seeds, fertilizers, this stuff. Well, agriculture is a very specific sector. If something happens in the world, people in the farm, they may have something at home to survive for 5 to 6 months, usually. Or sometimes they have their production in the field. They can sell it, they can use it. But after 6 months, no one in the rural areas can survive without subsidy in such a condition. They have finished all of their resources, financial resources, things that they had in storage, things that they have in refrigerator. It's dead. Agriculture is dead without subsidy. So we have to give to them chance for seeds, fertilizer, agriculture. Look, in 2 years, agriculture machines without working, they have been amortized. If you want to put them working, they will bring a lot of problems, defects. So we need money. You need money to repair them because they have 2 years without working. So that's why farmers need money. If you combine agriculture, agribusiness, and tourism, these are three more important sectors from where we can start recovering economy. Why? We need tourists, and tourism should be developed. But tourism cannot be developed without agribusiness, which support tourism with food. But who supports agribusiness with food is agriculture sector, which bring raw material to agribusiness, to process things. So that's why I think in such countries, we need to combine agriculture, agribusiness, and tourism as a very important triangle, which can give us a chance to recover economy. If we will do that, then after that, we can get some money to invest in other sectors. the main sector which brings money shortly, quickly, it's tourism, agriculture, and agribusiness. It's not industry. No, industry don't bring money quickly. And to build a new industry, we need money for technologies. We need money to build factories. But do we have that money? No, we don't have that money. Not only us, but even US, even Japan, they don't have that money because they spend a lot during the COVID. So all the world should invest in agriculture, agribusiness, and tourism. This brings money quickly. If we have this money quickly, then we can invest this money in other sectors. That's the only one solution, combined with subsidies and support for businesses and families.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. But just a quick follow-up, if that's okay. Since you mentioned about agriculture, agribusiness, how about for those people who are not in that sector? For example, an ordinary student, a housewife, just a regular employee worker. What can they do perhaps towards the growth of the
Yes.
economy?
Yes, very good question. So we spoke generally about the economy, but now we have to take care for specifics, for people with specific needs, which are students, housewives, and some other people with specific needs in the society. For all of them, not only during the pandemic, but even without pandemic, a serious government must have some schemes to support them, even without pandemics. You should have a project to support a young person which want to go in the school and don't have opportunities individually. You should have a project as a government to support families with one parent, which this number of families with one parent is increasing rapidly. And we have to think as a society for them. You have to have a very specific project for people which want to work, but they suffer from specific diseases. They want to work, they are able to work, but they cannot do all jobs, but they can do a specific job. They are able to do something specific, and we have to give to them a chance. We should not say, okay, you stay alone, go home, I will give you a very small pension for all of your life. No. They are able to do things probably much more than us, much better than us. And we have to give to them a chance. So we need to have projects for them, besides the fact that COVID exists or not. Even without COVID. No COVID, well, there is another disease. There is another, it will be, let's say, an earthquake. So what? No earthquake, no projects to support these people? No COVID, no support to these people? No. This is not going to function now.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Enrico Ceko, for that very insightful and enlightening talk about the post-pandemic shifts in the world economy, where you shared the major developments and shifts on the post-pandemic world economy. We truly appreciate your time and effort. With that, Dr. Seko, would you have anything to add or would you want to promote to our audience?
Yes. Yeah, it's okay with me.
Do you have anything to promote, sir?
Yeah, I would like to thank you for this very enjoyable time with you. I loved it very much. Well, for me, it's easier to deliver lessons. But what I love the most is the second part of of the seminar, especially this part of the questions, because I really loved the questions you had, and I tried to answer by my heart.
Thank you again. Would that be all, sir? Okay. So again, on behalf of ESME, we would like to express our sincerest gratitude to you. Thank you very much for attending here in our webinar.
You're welcome, and see you next time. I'm happy to discuss with you other issues as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.